Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. This is it. This is the big one. Manchester United versus Bodø Glimt in the Europa League. Ruben Amorim's first game at Old Trafford. Joe Smith is with me. Joe, it doesn't get much better, does it?
It doesn't get much better than this. I mean, it is an exciting game.
Yep.
It is Amorim's first time at Old Trafford, or first time managing United at Old Trafford. And that it does mean something.
Of course it does.
It's a good footing to get off on. We drew the first game, obviously. You don't want too many games before that first win.
No.
Because we've seen that a lot recently, haven't we, with United managers. Like permanent United managers struggling to kind of hit the ground running. So we need to not do that. So let's get a win. Let's move on and actually try and work our way up the Europa League table. It's a good game to get points. It's a perfect game, really, to sort of establish yourself as the new manager and impress the fans a little bit as well.
Yeah, the fans will be up for this. I'm looking forward to it. We'll get into Bodø Glimt a little bit later on and sort of discuss them, but it's definitely a winnable game, isn't it? Like, this isn't a game where you go,
I should hope so.
This is a game where you look at it, you go, okay, we can win this, we can get a little bit of momentum. Yes, it's only the Europa League, but like you said, you want to get that first win. You want to get that bit of positivity going, because whilst we are all sort of buzzing that Ruben Amorim is here, we've liked what he's done in press conferences and interviews and his record at Sporting, it was a touch deflating that we didn't win against Ipswich. It was a bit like, we took the lead after 2 minutes and not won the match. A little bit frustrating, but this is an opportunity to put that right.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I just want to feel a little bit of movement, a bit of momentum, a bit of something again. Because with Ten Hag, I know we had the FA Cup run, which the Liverpool game was amazing. The final was amazing, but the other games in that run weren't particularly. Like the Coventry game almost left me feeling worse than it did when it's before the game, even though we got to a final.
It was the other one. Was it Newport County, the one that was like where we were 2-0 up and then they got it back to 2-0?
Yeah, like all of the. I mean, like, those two amazing games aside, most of last season was pretty horrendous.
Oh, it was. You're right.
So that it's not been fun to be a United fan since basically, for an actual chunk in a row since we won the Carabao Cup in 2023.
Yeah.
So I just want there to be a forward momentum to the club again. We've had loads of forward momentum off the pitch, new things, promises of new stadia or stadiums and training grounds and all sorts. But on the pitch, I want it to feel like, United can win 6 games in a row, or no losses in our last 10. It's been so long since that feeling has even been at United. Like I said, pushing 18 months now. Yeah. Like, that's a long time in football. Like, let's get a bit of movement going here. You're
right, and I think in Europe in particular, we've had so many disappointing evenings. Even this season, you look at the FC20 game, you look at the Porto game, you look at the Fenerbahce game, none of those were particularly great, were they? No. And going back even further, last season's Champions League campaign was a complete and utter disaster. There's no sugarcoating it. To finish bottom of that group and not even get through to the Europa was terrible and one of the nails in Erik ten Hag's coffin. So you want to see a little bit of an improvement, and I'm sure we will. I don't want to be too negative. The manager spoke to the press ahead of this game, sat next to Bruno Fernandes. What did you make of those little tweets and memes going around that them two look like brothers or father and son?
Similar kind of hair colour, obviously both from the same country, same kind of beard and pattern and colour and that. Similar,
yeah. It's a bit of a tapping suggestion, isn't it?
Yeah, very much of a tapping. But they're not miles away as far as two human beings are concerned, are they?
Bit like me and you.
Yes.
I'm always getting Joe, and you're always getting Jay, aren't you? Like,
constantly.
That's at home.
Yeah.
The manager spoke about rotation, about giving players a chance, about how he wants players to learn the system, and it's no good just having 11 players that know it and the others don't. So he is going to rotate in it. We'll get to the predicted 11s in a minute, but how much rotation do you think he can do? Because on the one hand, yes, everyone wants to learn the system, and yes, this is a winnable game and all the rest of it, but on the other hand, you need that win. Yeah, well, he mentioned, didn't he, that the team that's just played can't really train. And then by the time they're ready to train again, they've got a game. Yeah. So he said the team that didn't play at the weekend are the only ones able to train and therefore learn new things. So you can't do both. You either play or train. So he's kind of having two teams, or he's not going to have two teams because they've got 22 players good enough of doing that, good enough to do that. But he's going to have something like two teams. One learns for a week, one plays for a week, and vice versa, or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see how much rotation there's. Like I said, in the predicted 11s, I know
I've made a handful of changes. You can't just change everything because even our best team isn't good enough to win every game.
That's a very good point. Let's get into it then.
Okay,
before we do that, I want something to tell you. Get your phones out, film yourself in landscape for 30 seconds and give us your score predictions and send them to paddockmatchday@gmail.com and you will be part of the pre-match build-up for the watch-along. Sorry, Joseph, I interrupted you there. We can see your 11 there. Talk us through it.
I've made a few changes to it. We'll go through those now. So obviously, I'll do the back five as a back five. We've got Ahmad keeping his slot, Mazraoui the same, De Ligt the same. I've brought Shaw in for Johnny Evans. Anthony at left wing-back as well, in for Dalot, who... Dalot needs a rest. He plays too
Something
often.
is not right with Diogo Dalot.
Yeah,
he's not having a great season, and I hope it is he's knackered. Because if he's knackered, you can fix it, rest him, and he'll get recharged and come back the player he was last season. Because I thought he had a good season last season. Yeah. This season, I don't think he's having a good one, and I like Dalot, but he's not.
Yeah, I've changed both of the midfielders. I brought Ugarte and Mainu in. I think a lot of people want to see this as a two. The energy of Ugarte, which neither Casemiro or Eriksen had at the weekend. The ball playing ability, and not just ball playing ability, but the ability to take the ball up the pitch with it at his feet of Kobbie Mainoo. He can receive the ball off the defence and drive up the pitch. His dribbling is very good, and he's very good at moving through the thirds with the ball at his feet. So I'd bring him in for that. Then Mason Mount, I want to see him. I want to see what, Ten Hag. Amorim spoke about him before the game last against Ipswich and said how impressed he is with him and that he can play in two positions. Then there's that clip going around, I don't know if you saw it, where Mount was pointing for a player to move on the bench, and then after he did it, Amorim did the exact same hand gesture, sort of insinuating or looking like he has a grasp of the system, or certain parts of the system at least. I want to see what he's got. Bruno Fernandes is the captain. I think he should play. And the front, the number 9 was a tricky one. I'm going with Rashford just because I think he just needs it. And like we keep saying, this is the season for Rashford. I think I don't know much longer he'll be at Man United if he doesn't have a good season. So I think we need to give him the chance to do that. But he could easily be Højlund up there. But I definitely want to see Mount. I want to see Mainoo. And I want to see Ugarte as well, for sure.
Yeah, I get everything you've said there. I think it makes a lot of sense. Anthony at wing-back is, on the surface, a bit of a controversial one, but why not? You mentioned it in one of the videos we did earlier, and I think a lot of people actually are open to that idea, including myself. If you go to my 11, I've said this twice now in two predicted 11s that Anthony as a wing-back might be an option, but I wouldn't be surprised if he at least tried it. Yeah. At least tried to get a tune out of him. Same with Mason Mount. I've gone with Rasmus up top. I think he'll want to give Rasmus a start. I understand your point about Marcus Rashford, but I think if you are going to rotate, the back three is probably the biggest sort of change I've made here, the most controversial one. Martinez on the right hand side might look a little bit disjointed, but when you've got Luke Shaw, who's obviously left-footed, you have to move it around a little bit. And I think Martinez can play on the right-hand side of a 3. I think he's got that in his locker. He's got the ability to do that. It's probably not perfect for him, but he'll do it, and I think he'll do it well. And I think it's better to have De Ligt in the middle. That's my theory anyway. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know whether you agree. Myself, Joe, neither of us. Let us know what you think. Bodø Glimt's an interesting one.
Yes.
Because they can win the league soon.
They're on the cusp of winning their league title, and because their season ends soon, because obviously you can't really play through winter in Scandinavia the way you can in England.
Those Norwegian winners, man.
Yeah,
you have got to be tough to survive them.
Exactly. So their season's almost over, and they are top of the league. They can win it this weekend. So there's been some suggestion that they might even rest and rotate a few players in order for them to win the league at the weekend, which. I hope they do
like what Fergie used to do when he just played the absolute resis.
Yeah. Darren Gibson up front and stuff like that.
Well, I hope they do that. Because I don't care if we beat a second string team. I don't mind. I just want to win.
Yeah, me too. Just on Bodø Glimt.
Yeah.
Looking at their badge there.
Yeah.
Hasn't that got we're revamping our badge and making it a bit more simplified, written all over it? Like, that badge has got too much going on, hasn't it? There's lines going through lines. There's circles with text over them. It's got the word Glimt really big. Like, they need to fix that badge personally. Get whoever did the Jaguar revamp to sort that thing out. I
quite like it. I think it is
like
bold.
There's some sort of astronomy centre.
Yeah, I feel like it's a Bond villain's badge for his corporation.
Yeah,
it feels a little bit like that, but I like it because it's memorable. You know what I mean? You've got to take your victories where you can. You've got to do what you can to promote yourself. You know what I mean? They're on the cusp of winning the title. They've got a badge that's very memorable. They're going places. Yeah.
It'd be nice if they just completely played like loads of 17-year-olds, wouldn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, as in they just rested the whole team.
Oh, right, yeah,
just
brilliant.
Played the academy.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Imagine.
Like, I'd love
like
it.
14.
I'd love it. I'd be cheering every goal like it was the winner in '99. Yeah. With all that being said then, give me your score prediction, my friend. And don't forget, I want your score predictions too. Send them to paddockmatchday@gmail.com.
One thing that always comes with playing these teams, and I say this a lot in Europa, is, and one of the reasons I think why we struggle to win so many games in Europe, not just under Ten Hag, but generally over the last 10 years, we've really struggled in Europe, haven't we?
Yeah.
Under almost every manager. And that is, these teams you're playing are used to winning every week. They are champions of their division, or they finish second in their division. Often will have got 80, 90 points in their domestic competition. They're used to winning 25 to 30 games a season, which means you're getting them at their best. They're at their most confident. They obviously don't have the quality that we do, but one team with quality that's here with no confidence is very much a level match for a team that's quality is here with loads of confidence.
That's a very good point.
We see it a lot. We struggle in a lot of games in Europe, whether it's Istanbul, Beşiktaş, or Porto, or whoever it is. Playing teams with lesser quality but who are absolutely flying is really hard, especially if you're kind of learning your tactics. So I don't think we'll blow them away. I think we'll win, and I think it will be comfortable, but I'm going to go 3-1. I don't think it's going to be some battering, because they're a team that's used to winning most weeks, and they'll have that real energy to them.
I think you're right. It's going to be a closer game than perhaps we'd want.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a 1-0.
Ooh.
And I think it could be a bit of a nail biter, like we saw against Copenhagen at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
With like a last-minute penalty save or something
really
like that.
Good side, weren't they?
Yeah. Something like that. I remember watching that game thinking, Jesus Christ, these are amazing.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be like that. Hopefully there'll be an absolute pasting for them. But you never know. Make sure if you're not doing already, you are hitting like, share, and subscribing to the channel, because we're going to be here for the watch along, plus all the post-match reaction. Go and check out Joe on the Sloppy Joe's podcast as well. You know where to find me. That's been Joe. I've been Jay. This has been a preview. Manchester United versus Bodø Glimt in the Europa. Thanks for watching.